So in my work here as a fabricator, I do a lot of metal grinding. If I'm grinding down a weld or just kind of reshaping a piece of steel, metal grinding is something that I'm constantly doing, and I'm constantly looking for the best and most efficient way to do it. Now, I previously made a video about the Fared Victograin grinding discs, about how much faster they are than any other type of grinding disc I'd ever used. And I got a lot of comments in that video that the test was biased or that maybe I didn't do it right. So I came up with a kind of grinding rig here, which uses a pivot and a place for me to put weights so that it's a very controlled grinding environment. And I'm going to be doing some testing with some specialized grinding discs to show you that this new one that I have is quite possibly the fastest grinding disc that's ever been made. It's honestly shocking how much faster it is than the other ones by a margin of 3 or 4. And I'm going to show you that the grinding disc that you're using now probably isn't the right one for massive and fast stock removal. So if you do any metal grinding, stay tuned. Let's get right into it, test out this rig, and maybe blow your mind on the best grinding disc on the market. So what I've built here is essentially just a pendulum that holds my variable speed but corded angle grinder. Now, corded is important because I didn't want to use batteries. Maybe the batteries would die. And it's got this threaded rod on here that I can put weights on. So I've got 2.5 pound weights. I'm going to do most of these tests with 5 pounds of weight. And I've got a timer here that I'm going to run so that as I speed up the video, you can tell no funny business. You can see the timer is doing its thing. I'm going to be grinding 3/4 inch round bar, and I'm going to be grinding 3/4 inch of material away from it. And the product that I'm going to be sharing today is this Fared CC Grind Robust grinding disc. Now, I am sponsored by Fared. They did send me these, but wait till you see the results to see how incredible these discs are. Let's go. All right, so we're going to start with the CC Grind Robust, which is a low angle, low pressure disc. I've got 5 pounds of weights on this grinding rig. Now, the idea is that this can kind of free pivot and free float. There's very little weight on it as it is, but you know, a little bit of weight from that. Now, this vise can move around, and we're going to be grinding 3/4 inch of material away from a 3/4 inch bar. So I'm going to clamp that in the vise, and I'm going to manipulate the grinder a little bit by kind of just wiggling it so that it's not only grinding in just one spot of the wheel. And I got to do that on all the other grinding discs as well, just because if you just sit in one spot, it is always going to eat away at that abrasive and kind of wear a hole in it. So we're going to give it just a little bit of a wiggle on the back end, just kind of let it move up and down a tiny bit, but I'm not going to add any pressure to it. Let's see how we do. Okay, so that took about a minute, give or take, and that's very fast. That'll be kind of our benchmark. So let's take a look at what else we've got here. We'll try some comparisons with some other types of discs. Whew, that's hot. So the big comparison here is I want to go to a stone grinding disc, which some people still think these are the best type you can buy. This is a DeWalt, just high performance. Let's see how this does. So we've got the DeWalt high performance stone disc on there. We'll load up another one of these, 3/4 by 3/4, same exact material, cut from the same bar. Now again, I'm going to give this the benefit of kind of wiggling the disc as I go. So I'm going to give it a little bit of help as I go and let this thing grind through. So I'm going to leave the angle of my grinding rig the same, but generally I think people use these a little flatter. We'll see how it does and if I have to change it, but let's give it a quick test and compare how long it takes to get to that same 3/4. Same 5 pounds of weight. Okay, so at double the amount of time, we still haven't even really gotten close. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the angle of the grinder because it's clearly grinding at a very sharp angle and it's not reducing the material. So I'm going to reduce the angle of the grinder a little bit and see if that helps. And obviously start the clock back over. Same disc, same weight. Continue the clock and see if we can get down to 3/4. All right, so it's been 5 minutes and yeah, I'm getting there. I'm almost there, but I'm not going to continue with this one because it's been 5 minutes to go not even the same distance. So if you think that a stone grinding disc is as good as a modern engineered disc, you are wrong. I'm sorry. So let's switch to another type of grinding disc. This is a cup disc, which a lot of people have also said are really good for grinding down steel. Let's try this and see if it performs better than a flat stone disc. The stone disc looks pretty much the same, except it has worn in, it's a little glassy. So the cup disc is gonna need to be set back a little bit. I'm gonna have to move the vise in order to make sure that the cup disc is actually hitting. And the cup disc is just about 3/4 of an inch wide. So I'm gonna have to just make sure that my material's in the exact right spot. Now we'll start with 5 pounds like we started with the other one, and we'll see how we do. All right, I'm gonna spare myself on that one because after 2 minutes, we've made very little progress. Compared to the 3/4 inch blank, we've probably ground away about 1/8 of an inch. So cup wheel, no good. So now I wanna switch to a tried and true favorite, which is the flap disc. Now this is a high quality flap disc. This is a Polyfen Extra from Fair. This is a 60 grit disc. And let's see how this does. Now flap discs don't do as well as a structured abrasive, but just as a comparison, let's see how a flap disc does against 3/4 by 3/4 to compare. 5 pounds again, 2 plates. All right, so at 3 minutes, I decided to stop because I'm getting there, but I've clearly already gone 3 times longer than the first disc. So it's just not as fast. Now I'm also burning up that flap disc because flap discs really aren't made for this type of grinding. They're really made for finishing kind of grinding, and they do wear out because they are basically just layered sandpaper, but they do leave probably the nicest finish. So there's one other structured abrasive disc I want to show. This is the CC Grind Solid. This is what I've shown before, the Victo grain discs. I really like these, and they are probably the closest thing to these new CC Grind Robust discs, but the difference is in the actual backing of the disc itself. So the CC Grind Robust is a nylon backing, what's kind of cool about it is you can actually trim this disc down. So if you wear out the edge, you can actually grind it, the edge itself, up against like a sharp piece of metal, and the nylon will just wear away. So you can essentially shrink the disc. This is a fiber back, and it's a lot harder to do that with this. So we'll give this a shot. The other thing you'll notice is there is abrasive on this entire disc, where on the nylon, it is in a more of a select area. So let's try the Victo grain, the CC Grind Solid. And then one last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use the first disc I used again, and we'll do another test with a used disc and see how fast we can grind away that 3/4. All right, so we've got the CC Grind Solid, the Victo grain that I made a video about previously. We're gonna do 5 pounds, see how it does. All right, so I stopped that one too at 3 minutes. We're very close to taking the whole thing down, but not there in 3 minutes. So once again, I want to go back to the first disc that I used, the CC Grind Robust. This is that disc. It's now used. You can kind of tell the abrasive is a little more worn down than a brand new one. But let's do the experiment again with the first disc that we tried and see how it does even after already grinding the 3/4 away. And all these pieces of metal are very hot. I've got that original disc on here, the first disc I tried. So this will be cutting the material now for the second time. And I'm probably gonna have to add an extra weight plate to this. I did it originally with the 5 pounds because with some of these abrasives, you actually wanna give a little bit of pressure once they're used to try to break away some of that dull abrasive and expose new abrasive that's beneath it. So I'm gonna start with 5 pounds. I'll probably add another plate, but let's see how this does. Second time cutting this material and see if we can get it done. That got a little hairy. Let's finish it up. So I was able to get the 3/4 of an inch ground down with the used disc. Now you can really see the difference between a brand new one of these and a used one. And I'm realizing now that I changed the angle for the second test and it was different than what I did the first one. So I want to use another fresh one of these discs and do one more test just to show that at the exact same angle what kind of performance we get out of it. So as of now, the only one of these discs that was actually able to even do this in a reasonable amount of time was the CC Grind Robust. And like I said, this is the first one we tried, the used one. Let's get a brand new one on there and see how quickly we can get this done to finish this up. I'm gonna try to keep the grinding setup from falling apart this time. All right, ready? Let's see how we do. 5 pounds. Started grinding off center, okay. Right there, let's do it again. Brand new disc, 5 pounds of weight, 40 seconds to grind 3/4 of 3/4 when none of these other discs could even get close. And just because someone will say that I switched the discs or something like that, I'm gonna take my camera off my tripod in a continuous shot and show you the disc that I'm using is this CC Grind Robust from Fared Abrasives. So listen, I know some of you are still not convinced and you're gonna write down in the comments that there's a better disc. Tell me which disc you think is better. Tell me what disc you think can grind 3/4 of 3/4 inch bar with 5 pounds of weight on it faster than 40 seconds with like a reset in there. I kind of even messed that one up. It probably would have even been less time. And yes, I am sponsored by Fared Abrasives. There's no secret there. They send me products. I use them on my projects. And I only work with Fared because their products are better than every other product that I've had. And if you make content, you know I get offers from every other abrasive brand out there. But I stick with the company that's going to provide me with the best products to use in my projects. That's why I work with the brands that I do. I only work with stuff that I want to use in my projects as a professional fabricator here in my shop. Time is the most valuable thing to me. So the time that I save by using better stuff makes all the difference. If you want to check out these discs, Give them a try. If you grind metal, if you grind welds, if you need to remove material fast, there is nothing better that I've ever used. So take the leap if you do this type of work. Now, if you don't do this type of work and you say, well, I don't think I'm ever going to have to grind material that fast, just know that the stone discs that you're using and the cup discs or even a flap disc, they're not made for removing material quickly, and you're probably wasting a lot of time using the wrong kind of grinding disc. If you need to remove material, you want a structured abrasive, like a Victo grain, like a CC Grind Solid or a CC Grind Strong. And the thing that's most compelling about this for me is I've been using the gray Victo grain disc, the CC Grind Solids, for a long time. I was absolutely blown away how much better the CC Grind Robust is. I'm shocked at it being almost 3 times faster than what was the fastest type of grinding disc I'd ever used previously. So anyway, there's my little demo. Sound off in the comments below. I'm sure people are furiously typing about how I did something wrong or how they would have done something better. Let me know. I'm happy to do a follow-up video, and I'm happy to test out another type of grinding disc if there's a consensus down in the comments that says this one may be able to beat my test. It's a pretty controlled environment. I know I had to move the grinder a little bit, but I wasn't adding any pressure. I was literally just like moving the cord up and down a little bit at a time. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something, and I hope this product can help you because it's going to help me. Check out the links to buy them down below. Check out my Instagram right here. See you on the next video.